Hey everyone, welcome to our review of the final episode of Mashin Sentai Kiramager. As always, I'm your host, the Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have
The Cinder Blaze.
I'm Aresol.
my dudes. Welcome back. And you know what? This was a good 10-minute episode that got stretched out to the standard runtime. It felt it, but I did like going back to certain scenes. It's not necessarily a negative, but I don't know.
I thought this was fine. I thought this was very enjoyable for what it was. I do agree it was stretched out. I feel like this is very much the last 10 to 15 minutes of a finale.
Mm-hmm.
The finale being last week.
Yeah.
So like I feel like people who maybe marathon watch these series,
Mm-hmm.
who watch both episodes together will get a lot more out of it because it's a much more well-rounded story that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was the last half of something.
Yeah.
So,
Like this.
Go ahead.
This was like definitely like a four-parter,
Mm-hmm.
and it just ended up being the last one. It's not supposed to be
Yeah.
like just like a whole standalone thing. It felt like.
Well,
Yeah.
I would have appreciated if they leaned more into the epilogue aspect of it. Like obviously I liked what we got,
Yeah.
but I would have liked to see Judo go back and like, hey, here's the thing. Let's go on that trip or whatever, or the theme park or amusement park, and have that. But it was cute, like, oh hey, did they actually go on the date or did they actually do the thing? And then she appears in the screen. It was nice to have that little surprise moment. So I guess structurally I appreciated the way they did it.
still, an extra couple of minutes to see where everyone else
Mhm.
kind of ended up would have been nice, because we really only just saw them hanging out in the in a hologram, but just in the base.
Yeah.
We didn't really get much on what their lives are like.
I'm surprised Yodana didn't make it out.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but I am definitely really surprised. I expected that to be something because
Mhm.
when in the episode that she showed up in, they had that whole thing with her and Yellow, and then they teased him about it a few times throughout the rest of the series. And especially in last week's episode where her death scene seemed a little more sad and like not
Yeah.
she obviously
Yeah.
didn't get what she was expecting out of it. But yeah, it just ended up she's dead.
Yeah, like
she's gone.
it's weird because the way they ended that scene earlier, it felt so unresolved. Like she didn't want this, but then this episode comes by. I don't want to say it retcons it, but like it continues the conversation that we thought was over and was like, okay, I guess she's fine with it. Also, she's kind of the only, I guess, good part of the Yodon Emperor. Um,
It's the part of him that wanted like other
Companionship.
people. Yeah,
yeah,
companionship.
but I didn't quite see that because she didn't really seek companionship. I guess she has a whip that turned one people into many, if that could be interpreted as her wanting multiple people around her, but that's a bit
It's
of a
more of a
stretch.
stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly, it's more like she's the cautious part of
God damn
like
it.
Santa's personality. Like technically she's supposed to be there, but not really. Like that's what really confused me with like the whole like death scene. Just like out of like all the characters, I thought that she was gonna be redeemed, like for sure, because like they were kind of like alluding to it the entire
Mhm.
time, because they're like always talking about like, oh, like when's the proper time to like express emotions and shit like that. She's like more actively learning from the humans
Mm-hmm.
compared to Garza or Crunchula. So when she just kind of like dies within like the Yoden Emperor's mind space, and he kind of like just says, "Well, you're all my compassion, all this shit." It's like we don't even know where that compassion was. Like Yodona barely has it. Like to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
because she was easily the most ruthless one of the Yoden Emperor or Yoden generals, and then like our big bad, like he's just evil, just straight
Yeah.
up. So for that logic is like, well, you're like my weakness, like my compassion,
Sure.
all that stuff. It didn't make any sense. We didn't see any of that shit, and we're just like, okay, I guess I just want to kill Yodona.
Mm-hmm.
And once she dies, like no one like even like mourns the fact that she's kind of like dead because like they're just like no one cared. So like I would think that Yellow might have, but he
Mm-hmm.
probably just like forgot. Like when he sees like the mask get like blown off in the middle of that fight, like no reaction from like anyone, not even Crunchula. So that
Yeah.
was just a little off-putting, and I was like, okay, just
Yeah.
I guess we're just gonna end the series.
Fair. And like overall though, it did I didn't immediately notice that as like an issue cuz the episode flowed so well into each subsequent part of it, you know, um and it's only upon like, reinspection that I noticed that she didn't really get much, but it's not in the grand scheme of things. It's not too much of a knock against this last episode. Um
Yeah. Um, I I really like that they well, it's something they started last week, but they used all of the Grainer stones in this final fight. It
mhm.
was nice to see that storyline actually have some sort of payoff. Uh, but I like how they use the hallucination. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That stone.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, that that of course did lead to like a series of scenes that were clearly there to pad out time, where we're just rewatching what we had just watched again. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
yeah. But
So
like that whole thing only about because Crunchula told like this episode, well, if he thinks he kills you, then he takes off his mask, and we're just like, okay. And like this is like one of
Yeah.
those weird situations where their initial plan works, so it gets resolved extremely quick.
Yeah.
Like I was waiting for something to go wrong, but it just kind of like happened as expected, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh,
There's also an unfortunate downside to that uh to the Emperor's suit is that our big like final battle is really just against a bunch of Muddites, just a bunch of like souped up henchmen, because that suit can't fight. You can't get a good fight out of that big bulky suit. That like, despite the fact that he does apparently have feet, he can't walk in it. So it's like it is a little weird that there's not a final suit fight
hmm
against the Emperor, even though like the final like headshot was really cool.
hmm
Uh but I get why. And I also thought the mech stuff was fun. Um
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I'm a little sad they didn't like hot swap into like multiple different uh Zord configurations or anything like that, but I don't know. I maybe to an extent that wasn't the focus of Kiramager. The focus is on the characters, and we got to relive certain parts of that with the flashbacks. Um, I don't know. It wasn't like as bombastic as you'd think a Sentai show would end up being, but it I don't know. It's fine. It worked still. Um,
yeah. I think that's like actually one of my gripes with like this finale in particular, because like I really enjoyed Cure Major as a whole, and just like comparing like the final episode to like the final episodes of series, it's like I didn't like that much, like Loop Pad or Ninja. like their final episodes were pretty good. Like
Mm-hmm.
for this one, it just kind of felt like, well, we're already kind of done here. Like even
Yeah.
the Yoda Emperor is like checked out. Like he's just zoning out in the middle of fights.
Mm-hmm.
Just took that shot point blank. They couldn't even attempt to dodge.
I guess it's more of a thing of like we've gone through the normal difficulty of the rest of these villains throughout the show, and you'd think that like this would take a bit more effort, but it ends up being all right. Like his
Yeah.
only gimmick is that we got to get his helmet off. All right, cool, we did it. But I don't know. It's not the best, but it overall I
Yeah.
enjoyed what we got.
Yeah. I think again, just reiterating what I said earlier, if you're someone who watches a lot, like just all of it at once,
Mm-hmm.
these final four episodes fit together really well, and the overall package will be a lot better than just watching this one individual episode.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, anyway, speaking of no, wait, we can't transition into the ending cuz we got comments. We got comments. We got finale comments from you guys. So let's dive right into these, huh? Um First up, we have Andy L who says, "I have totally forgot that awkward team pose. Applause for blue and yellow. Loved Yodana's loyalty. Kiramager not bad, huh? After all the problems threw at the production, still came out shining. Kiramager as a whole is truly representation of the Kiramental. One more round of applause for all the staff." Yeah. Next up. Oh, you know what? They didn't whiff it. They didn't absolutely shit the bed with it. So that's a good thing. Um,
Yeah.
Next up is K John, who says, "This might not be the most action-packed finale, but it certainly is one of the most emotional ones. Everyone got to shine and played a role in the final battle. The Kiramagers doing the team pose in their human form was a pleasant surprise. I loved how Mabushina highlighted each member's strengths during the final battle. It's like a summary of their journey over the past year. I'm also glad that we get to see Juru dating Kakihara. I like that too. I was very happy
Yeah.
to have them at least conclude that. Or at least have them hanging out. They're not explicitly dating.
yeah.
Um, the explanation of Juru's imagination ability might sound dumb for some people, but I'll take it. Considering how this show was affected by COVID, I'll give them a pass for not digging too much into Juru's special ability. I also feel the same about Crystalia being restored. Under normal circumstances, this would be a cheesy happy ending, but consider the current situation, this is perfect ending. To lift up people's mood, Crystalia being restored is like how we wished our new world will soon go back to normal. That is a
I
very poetic way of
yeah.
putting that.
I don't necessarily think those things were completely affected by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just Kiramager being what it is.
Yeah.
Um, it's just a goofy, cheesy series,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that Juru's connection to the king was just a big coincidence is, it's one more goof. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's it's funny how they brought that conundrum to the audience's attention, only to like not even entertain it at all. um. It's been a great journey. I love the show and these characters. Can't wait for the movie and the team up with Rudy Soldier. Yeah, absolutely cannot wait. Um,
Yep.
Anyway, we have our last comment coming from Double the Unknown, who says, "This was a fun finale, but I did have a major problem with it. I hate it when Sentai decides to throw in a backstory for the main villain in the ending. Look at you, Oger. It adds to my discontentment with the villains in this show. I'll explain more in the full season thoughts. However, the show ended on a good, enjoyable note, which is all I could ask for." Well, hey, first up, yeah, that was a little shaky. But
Yeah, I not to spoil my thoughts for the full series thing, but Sentai for a while has had a little bit of an issue with its villains and actually like fleshing them out and making them a thing prior to the last arc. So
Yeah.
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 Also, this one in particular, like because you brought it up, I was thinking the same thing about like how his backstory was really similar to the one from Zoojer, because he's just made out of a bunch of tiny snakes. The second that happened, I'm just like, you know what, you go for it, dude.
Yeah. I mean, and once again, that he just seemed to be the embodiment of evil they needed to take down.
Yeah. Just like normal snakes, though, you have to kill the head, or else they're immortal.
Or else they live forever.
Yeah. That's why we can never let snakes wear helmets.
Fantastic. But hey, also, second note, thank you so much for teeing up that we have a full series review coming. And don't worry, we're not going to renege on that like we did with 01, because, oops. But we are doing a full series review toward the end of Toku Week. So how this is going to work out is you leave your comment on the full series review on this review, right here. You have until Friday, I'd say, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the week that this goes up, because tomorrow we're going to be doing our watch-along of Decade and Geo Decade. That's going to run, like our watch-alongs are going to run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then our review for that will be Saturday. And then Sunday you will get your full series review. But we're probably going to try to record it earlier, so get them in by Friday, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time this week. Anyways, I think that's it. Hopefully that's not too complicated. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment below. Also, if you did end up missing your comment on this one, it would be a good time to put it in the other one. Or we could just say it in the next one. Anyway, also, while you're down there making your comments, there are links in the description down below to how you can help support the Black Lives Matter movement by donating money, signing petitions, and watching videos. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it
Yes, keep it juicy.
Yes. Keep it juicy.
Yes, keep it juicy. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, hey, there's Zenkaidra merch. Zenkaidra's coming up soon. There's Zenkaidra merch in the link down below that I designed, if you want to check that out.